And with issue 4 titled Showdown, Sonic the Hedgehog by IDW's miniseries Tangle and Whisper comes to its thrilling conclusion. As we see at the old Diamond Cutter base, Tangle and Whisper find themselves coming face to face with a platoon of badniks, which Whisper easily deals with, or at least she makes it look easy, as their plan goes into full swing, as this is nothing more than a mere distraction, something to keep Whisper busy, and with the destruction of this base, Whisper loses the last few ties that she has to her old life. Meanwhile, Tangle manages to ambush none other than Sonic the Hedgehog, and she shows him to a trap that they've set up for the imposter mimic. However, she knew that this was ultimately not Sonic, because why would Sonic just randomly be at the Diamond Cutter base? Of course, this is actually Mimic, that they seal inside a room and show him images of the old Diamond Cutters, with various comments towards how they felt about Mimic, how close they used to be, how much they used to care for each other. But Mimic didn't see it that way. He saw them as a means to an end, a way to get ahead in life, a way to stay alive. And, of course, this angers Tangle. Tangle is the complete antithesis to Mimic. Not, she's selfless, self sacrificing, adventurous, willing to put herself out there, caring about others. But Mimic is none of those things. He's devious, he's underhanded, he's uncaring. He doesn't care about anyone but himself and getting ahead in life. He is a monster who will do anything and everything to give himself the edge. To make it so that he never has to face the consequences of his actions. But this comes to roost now. So while he does manage to shapeshift into Tangle's best friend in order to keep her from actually doing the dirty and taking them out, despite the fact that she actually, goes in for the strike, Mimic is still a trained assassin. He still has the ability to take down someone in hand-to-hand combat. Because ultimately, while Tangle is good, she's untrained and unfocused. And Mimic manages to get the upper hand. That is, until Whisper comes in to finally try to take him down. And using, of all things, the Blue Wisp. However, Mimic manages to talk the Blue Wisp out of taking Mimic down, and it's understandable. The Blue Wisp and Mimic used to be a pair. They used to help each other. The reason why the Blue Wisp was paired with Mimic was because Mimic was non-confrontational in a lot of situations. But this doesn't stop Whisper. She's all too ready to take this coward down. And even though Mimic manages to get the upper hand on Whisper, that doesn't mean that Tangle is out of the fight. And they manage to capture him. And it even gets to the point where Whisper gets ready to put him down for good, to just end this. End the suffering he has caused. But Tangle interjects. She knows that this is not Whisper. To do this, to end the life of someone who was a comrade, that would weigh far too heavy on her conscience. Far more than just feeling like she left the rest of her team behind. Now, this is something that Whisper cannot and should not do. and Tangle manages to talk her out of it. This is not what they would have wanted. This is not the way it should end. Mimic should pay for his crimes and know that it was Whisper who brought him down. So ultimately, they go back to Tails' place. They seal him within a chamber that keeps him from being able to transform, or at least it should. But no, it's just a regular chamber actually. But it's some place that'll just keep him sealed and unable to go anywhere until they can transport him to a proper prison. And while Mimic tries to get Whisper's goat to kind of taunt her and mock her, ultimately Tangle tells Mimic that, well, he's in a bit of a bind himself. Eggman doesn't know that he's been captured. If anything, Eggman will just think that he ran out on him. That Mimic is out there mocking Eggman the entire time. That he was never really serious about taking Whisper down. So, he has a lot more to worry about than just Whisper gunning for him. And so our story ends with Tangle and Whisper wanting to still team up and fight the good fight against Eggman. However, Tangle's been away from home a little too long. She's worried about Jewel and, well, Jewel is probably worried about her. So it's time she just head home for a little bit and she'll catch up to her friend later. Now, this was an interesting direction to go with this series because, it was obvious that Whisper wasn't going to end Mimic. No, this is still a kid's story ultimately. But, it was interesting that they even brought that up. The whole idea that Whisper would actually make a conscious thought of ending Mimic right there and then, that she had to be talked out of it, that really shows something, that this series isn't playing around, that it's playing the long game. And it was fun, it was interesting, it had a very interesting villain. Like Mimic was something else and someone you needed to watch out for. And honestly, if there were more characters to contend with in this story, it would have been a lot more worrying. Who was Mimic? Who could you trust? How do you get around it? By making it so that Mimic only was contending with, just a few cast of characters, it made it so that you never quite could be fooled more than once. It was easy enough to trap him, it was easy enough to deal with him in the end. But should he ever return, adding more characters to the fray would definitely make him more of a viable threat in the end. But hey, tell me your thoughts and feelings towards this issue and the whole miniseries as a whole in the comment section below. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Were you not feeling it? Or are you desperate to see more adventures of Tangle and Whisper, the breakout characters of the IDW Sonic the Hedgehog comics? Please feel free to let me know and subscribe and hit the bell if you want to see more Sonic the Hedgehog comic book content. But until the next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.